Hello and welcome back to the port. I'm the Gav Major, and this is a review of the Tier 7 German cruiser or battle cruiser, the Siegfried, or the, as I amuse myself, the Siegfried. Now, Siegfried, she is an O-class battle cruiser, planned and ordered in 1940, but these were never constructed due to lack of materials, due to obviously a world war happening at the time. Now, it's always amusing to look at her and then almost try and consider what would the Royal Navy's response been. Could we seen the dusting off of the G3 battlecruiser designs and then seeing them redesigned to accommodate to counter these O-class battlecruisers? Now that I would love to have seen the speculations for. Now this is a tier 6 and 7 game of Domination on Greece. On the M team we have Fletcher, Algeria, Siegfried, Cleveland, Bismarck, Massachusetts. Interesting mix, I guess you could say. I spawned on the centre right, but I saw that we had two battleships and destroy on the left flank, so I've moved over to the left flank in order to try and support to the left flank with a cruiser, or battle cruiser, I guess you could say. So, when it comes to doing the comparisons to the tech tree ships, Siegfried's a little bit awkward because obviously she's either a very big cruiser or a very small battleship. If you compare to cruisers, you have a high HP base of 55,000 HP, and you have a high HP pool of 73,480. Now, versus a battleship, you're actually on the low side there, so it all swings and roundabouts in those occasions. When it comes to the torpedo reduction, you've got 22%, which is quite high for a cruiser, and on the low side for a battleship, I guess you could say. Now, when it comes to the armour, it's always best to go back to the port and take a look at the armour there, so I'll leave it to my past self. So let's start off with the armour of the Siegfried, and first of all the superstructure is mostly covered in 16mm of plating. This basically means that she has a harvestable superstructure for high explosives, short fuse or low caliber armour piercing. When we move on to, I guess, the big things that people are noting is the bow and the stern, which is mostly covered in 26mm plating, which is only sufficient to ricochet up to 14-inch guns. So what that does mean is that 15, 16, 18-inch guns are going to be punching straight through the nose, so you don't want to be sticking it nose on. But then again, that's pretty true with a lot of cruisers at the end of the day. When we take those away, we can see that you then have obviously the main armoured section of the ship and also the citadel all behind that. Now we can take away the torpedo protection, which is 190mm of armoured plating. The reason being is it's not really going to be stopping any shells, maybe a bit of plunging fire, but normally the fuses would mean that the shells would detonate by that point if the fuse does work, and if the fuse doesn't work, then it's not going to be doing anything to the ship, so we can just turn that off. But what you'll note here is that she does actually have a turtle back scheme. This consists of a armoured plate, so the lower armoured belt, I guess you could say, is 190mm thick, whereas the upper armoured belt is only 90mm thick. However, if you're going to be going for the citadel at close range, you've got to try and punch through that 190mm. If you are successful in punching through that 190mm, then you have to go through the inner armoured plate, which is up to 80mm thick, and then you'd have to go through the side of the citadel, which is up to another 60mm thick. So that's quite a lot of armour that you're going to have to try and punch through. Now, plunging fire wise, you might be able to circumnavigate the lower armoured belt and go through the upper armoured belt, which is only 90mm thick, and if you get it in a certain angle, you might even be able to bypass the actual inner armoured belt or the turtle back and actually go straight for the top of the citadel, which would then mean that you're simply having to put up with another 60mm. So at long range, it's a slight disadvantage, I guess you could say, because your turtle back can be completely negated. However, at close range, your turtle back is going to be quite helpful. Now, when it comes to obviously trying to angle yourself against those 15-inch guns and more, you are probably going to be trying to angle yourself at a nice 45-degree angle to try and make that ricochet off the front. However, please note that if it does come through the front, if it's going for the upper armor belt area, then it's going to be punching through about 25mm of armor. It still won't be getting citadels, but it will be penetrating and doing damage. If it does get through that, it's got a good chance of probably Coming off the barbets of the turrets, now these are mostly covered in 320mm all over. That's pretty much the story. Maybe 180 on the barbet, but basically very thick armour on the turrets and their casements and their barbets. Regarding the citadel, mostly below water level, partially above, pretty flat-sided in most other regards. Obviously the turtleback is more in association with the auxiliary room, I guess you could say. It's angled front and rear, which I guess does help with those ricochet angles if you are at an acute angle, I guess you could say. But all in all, she's an interesting armor-wise. Considering she's a battle cruiser, she's basically to be played as a cruiser almost, so having that thinner nose, yes, it can be detrimental for those who like to just battle tank things, but at the end of the day, you have to remember she's a cruiser, and you're trading a lot. I mean, you're getting quite reasonable armor over most of the ship, you're getting the caliber of the guns, and you're getting the speed, so it's all about compromises at the end of the day, and well, whether you can live with those compromises or not, I guess you could say. Now let's go back to the game. And welcome back. Looks like our destroyer's not moving, so we're just going to have to keep motoring over here and see what we can do. Now when it comes to the artillery, you have 6 15-inch guns in 3 dual gun turrets. So you have A turret, B turret super firing up front, and then you have Y turret at the rear. Very similar to the R-class battle cruisers, I guess you could say. Now, for a cruiser, these do have the longest range of 16.2 kilometers. Slow turret traverse though of 36 seconds per 180 degrees of rotation. Quite a long reload as well, you're looking at 26 seconds. HE shell damage is about 4,400, 34% fire chance, and 11,600 damage for your AP shells. No, I don't think we're going to be sneaking any shells through there. However, if you want to try and compare her to, say, a battleship, you're looking at being somewhere on par with the Tirpitz, I guess you could say. Regarding your shells, you're looking at same shell quantities or qualities as the Bismarck. However, versus a battleship, you do have a short range and fast traverse, which is, I guess, an advantage. Now, in comparison to both battleships and to cruisers alike, you are looking at having quite poor high explosive DPMs, quite poor fires per minute, and quite poor AP DPM. So I guess that's part of the compromise of going for a battle cruiser kind of design and sacrificing a turret or a number of guns in order to have that advantage of speed. Now, when it comes to the torpedoes, you do have 2 quadruple launchers, 1 per side. And now these have an above average launcher reload of 90 seconds, however they are better than average per tube. Let's see if we can get another fire on that Massachusetts. Now, where was I? The torpedoes, in regards to their damage and outputs like that, is very similar to the Hipper in regards to the damage. So versus a cruiser, you are looking at having the second lowest damage at 13,700, an average detection range of 1.3 kilometers, second shortest range of 6 kilometers, and the a speed of 65 knots. Don't think we're going to be getting any luck on that, so probably going to have to flex in, I think. Maneuverability wise, you are looking at 33.5 knots for your speed, which is quite an average speed for versus a cruiser. Second largest turner circle, however, of 880 meters. Slowest rudder shift of 16.8 seconds as well. Concealment wise, you have the second largest detection by sea, which is 13.7 kilometers. You're also looking at the largest detection by air and in smoke. From the air, you're looking at 8.2 kilometers, and from smoke, you're looking at 12.5 kilometers. Now, when it comes to the consumables, brace yourself, because I guess you're kind of expecting it. German sonar, yes. So that's basically a long-range, long-duration sonar. In the instance of the Siegfried, you are looking at being able to detect ships at 5.6 kilometers, torpedoes at 3.8 kilometers. Has a 118-second duration and 180-second reload. I'm just wondering if the Fletcher's going to commit. Odin managed to mop up the Fletcher there. Now, when it comes to other consumables, yes, we do have catapult fighters. You get 3 of those, and we've also got the classic repair party that you expect on tier 7 cruisers. In this instance, it will heal 330 HP per second for 28 seconds, which means that from each repair party you can expect to regain 9240 HP, and you get 2 of those base. Obviously you can bump it up just a little bit with fully packed. I think we'll see if we can just get the cap here, and then we'll start making a move over towards Bravo. Well, that's pretty much everything regarding the ship all discussed. When it comes to the command build and the modules used, that'll be all down in the description. But I should let you know that I've taken secondary battery module 2 and 3 and steering gears module 2 and 3. It's just one of those things. I do like a bit of maneuverability if I can get it. So, while reading out the book, I've managed to do 23,000 damage. Nothing special, I have to confess. Let's see if we can start working over some things while we can actually now pay attention. Now, the ship is very orientated around armor piercing, I have to confess. You do have superior AP penetration as well, it's one of your traits. Another one of your traits is you do have big guns, but that's big guns in comparison to a cruiser, really. And it's always typical, there's something broadside on, so you load AP, and then it angles against you. Well, that's more than likely the Bismarck gone. So probably time to start tangling ourselves up with these 2 cruisers. Only one of which actually has torpedoes. As always, I ought to plug Patreon down in the description, and will be a link to Patreon as well. The channel is a non-monetized channel, that means you'll never see any adverts. And there won't be any sponsorships either. So if you want to support the channel, you can do it via Patreon. Also down in the description will be an email address for the channel if you want to send in any of your own game captures for the community spotlight video, which occurs every Monday. I think me and this Odin are very... Is it an Odin? I have no idea. I think it's an Odin. I think I might just use the Odin as a body block. Well, it's quite amusing to see the 2 different German designs here, the Odin with her 11-inch guns, and then the Siegfried with her 15-inch guns. Going to be popping on that sonar. We're half expecting the Algeria to try and chuck some torpedoes out. Probably not expecting a decent position on the table, simply because it has been just one of those games where our team seems to have been able to roll over the enemy while I've been distracted. I'll make my excuses now before the end screen, I guess. she goes. That's the end of the game. Yeah, Siegfried is an interesting ship, an interesting concept. I would love to know what the British would have responded to them with. That's my big query. That's what I would have loved to have known. Only 45,000 damage, probably not a great game in all honesty, only 1 kill. Just mostly reading out the book while I'm playing. Team results, yeah, coming quite low down. What were we, 6th place? But then again, this is why I like doing these live reviews. It gives a better cross-section of my gameplay, so no point me just showing you a great game every time. And also, I think doing it live, you get better reaction out of the game. Managed to make 94,000 credits with premium and a 20% credit booster. However, the ship service cost is 151,000 credits in this instance, which is amusingly more than a tech tree, but then this ship can earn more credits as well. So it's kind of like swings and roundabouts, I guess you could say. Well, if you have enjoyed that review, feel free to give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoy this content, feel free to subscribe. Until next time, I'm the Gareth Major, and back to the port.
Hey, hey, clear the way, here comes the galloping major. Bumpity-bumpity-bumpity-bump. Get out of the way there, you fellows, unless you want me to run you down.